it's Elliot with Yo Elliot. You've got strength questions, and I've got your answers.
Yo, Elliot.
Well, today we got a great question from my Florida strongman buddy, Andrew Clayton. He wants to know how to include sprinting into his program for strongman in order to improve his performance, but not lose weight. He's actually over 300 pounds and he wants to get heavier, so check him out.
Elliot, I have a question about sprinting for strongman. I've been doing strongman for about 2 years now. Don't really do much conditioning work other than events. I do sometimes use a sled and do sprints. But I'm wondering, how can I implement it into my training and not overtrain, not have injury, not hurt myself basically. Of course, I'm a pretty heavy guy. I'm a little under 300 right now. I'm trying to push the weight up even higher, but just stay really lean, so that's why I want to implement something for conditioning. The main things that I think are unclear to me, so to speak, is where to start. You know, how many sprints, how long the rest between them, how long. I mean, I understand that for big guys you don't really need a long duration. What you can do to improve the speed of footwork or other type drills, and I guess just how do you put it into the training so it won't affect the leg recovery. Personally, I was thinking maybe upper body day at the end, however many sprints are good, I'll put them in then. So yeah, that's my question. Hope you can help me out. Alright, thanks Elliot.
Well, Andrew, thanks for your question, buddy. And for those who don't know, Andrew and I have competed in shows together, and I think he was much younger back then and much smaller, so he's definitely making his way up the ranks, and I'm proud of you, buddy. Now, here's the situation. Sprinting is far more than just fast jogging. I know you know what I mean. Essentially, you're going to have to really prepare for this, and I got a quick story for you. When I was performing in strongman, competing in strongman, and I was training a couple of my other buddies, you might remember Byron from some of my old football videos. We were all preparing for strongman shows at the time, and I was up near 250 pounds. Byron was just getting huge and strong, and we both played college football, so as we were training one day, we started getting into a little argument about who was a faster sprinter. Now, I ran a 4.34 in college, and Byron was still, 22, 23 years old, probably younger, and feeling like his nuts were bigger than mine, so we both decided to go outside and run a 40-yard dash. So we figured, since we both played college football and we both had been training for quite a while, albeit mostly strongman training, that what's the big deal? Let's go outside and run some sprints. Well, we both got down in the line. The signal went off. We both sprinted out, and we were both like neck and neck. And essentially, I was beating Byron until I pulled something in my quad. I never get injured, but I do get injured every once in a while. But that was just like completely out of the blue. Pulled my quad. He pulled his hamstring, and we were both laid up for like 3 weeks apiece. What I later realized is that the ego got bigger than the senses, and we really should have prepared to sprint before just getting up and sprinting the way that we did that day. So, a number of things. There's going to be chronic and acute preparation that you're going to have to consider. The chronic, basically the long-term preparation that you're going to partake of is corrective stretches. Now, I haven't assessed you, so I don't know exactly where your muscle imbalances are, but I'm going to assume some of them just based on the sport that you're in, and I know which ones are generally going to be tight or the ones that would typically get injured if you're going to be involved in sprinting. Number one, stretch your hip flexors, like all the time. I've got videos on this channel that you can check out, and you're going to want to stretch them like before you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, before you're strongman training. Now, I know a lot of people would argue with static stretching before strength training, but my position is that you reduce the neural drive through that muscle so that your body can be set in all of its joints into its instantaneous axis of rotation. You will be better lined up to perform all of your training and exercises. So, stretch the hip flexors, stretch your pec minor, stretch your calves. If you have a tendency to have really tight hamstrings, stretch your hamstrings somewhat. If you have a tendency to have like a Donald Duck, butt up in the air type posture like I do, stretch mostly your hip flexors. That way your hamstrings can get a little bit more engaged without being taut and pulling it during your sprints. So those are the three major muscles that you're going to stretch on in a chronic basis over an extended period of time. Now, before you get up and just start sprinting, you're going to want to work some nervous system type drills like high knee runs, butt kick runs, dynamic type flexibility that you can probably find on my channel. I'll link it up somewhere if I can. But like a dynamic flexibility routine. So now you're going from training, getting the muscle prepared for the sprinting, to now training the nervous system to recognize the viability of the sprint pattern. Because right now your body doesn't even know that it can sprint. So if you now just start, if you get up and try to sprint, it's going to be all freaked out and you're going to be weird and your face is going to turn blue and it's just going to be strange. So what you want to do is start preparing your nervous system for some of the patterns that are associated with sprinting, and basically do that by chunking the sprint down. That's why we do the high knees, butt back, straight leg marches, walking lunges, things like that. Just check out the video that I have here for you. Watch that and use that dynamic warm-up prior to your actual sprinting workout. I'm going to talk about the sprint workout in just a moment, and then give you sort of a periodization on how you can stick it into your program. The sprint workout, I would keep my sprints, if I were you, very short. 10, 20 yards at the most, or yeah, 20. I wouldn't go past 40. Definitely not past 40. So 10s or 20s. 40s maybe if you're really striding it out. But what I would do is, in order to improve your conditioning and the explosive capacity with regard to your performance, start in a down position, just on your belly. Do a get-up sprint. So you're essentially having to get off the floor. That's lifting 300 of your big-ass pounds off the floor. Sprint out 10 yards, cross the 10-yard or the 20-yard line. Excuse me, the sun's coming up, and then get up immediately. Turn down, get back down in your stomach. Boy, this sucks. And then just sprint again. And you're gonna do that. Go back and forth about 10, 15 times with very short rest intervals. You know, maybe 30 seconds max. You're gonna see that this is really gonna tire you out, but the duration of the workout is gonna be short enough that you're not gonna start burning fat, which is what you don't want to do. You want to gain weight, right? So that's the situation. I'm getting pissed off with this goddamn sun coming up in my eyes. Clouds were in front of it before. So that's it, dude. I'm done. If you have questions, put them down below, but I'm done with this fucking video. Talk to you next time. Yo, Elliot.